Go Work 4 is about unit, chapter, and section headings. And this is basically how can I find the information I want in a chapter when I'm reading it or on a website when I'm reading it so that I don't have to read the whole chapter or every paragraph. Because a lot of times the questions that you're looking for won't require you to look at everything. They just want you to find a certain detail from the text. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to use like the typography, like how big is the writing and how bold is it or how small is it. And you can use those headings to find your information. So generally, to start with, your title of your chapter or unit is going to be like its own whole page. Like it's going to be like 6 and it's going to have a heading, Industrialism and the Race for Empire. And then you know that what you're dealing with has to do with chapter 25 or with the Industrial Revolution, or you know that it's happening sometime between 1700 and 1900, so you know it's going to be in chapter 25. And then you might look at the section heading because you know a lot of textbooks, they're set up as section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. And so you're going to look at the part heading here where it's like different color or it's a little bolder. And so we know the section is the beginning of industrialization and the part heading is the Industrial Revolution begins. And then you have these subheadings even inside there. See how they're like green? The Agricultural Revolution, and then down here we have crop rotations. And so depending on what you're looking for, you can kind of use just these headings to find where you're going until you get to a topic that's similar to what the question is asking. And some days that, depending on the question, some of that is easier or more difficult, just depending on how concrete the question is. But that's basically what you're going to do. You're going to look for subheadings and for headings before you start reading text in order to find what you're looking for. That way you don't have to read the whole thing. Okay, now we're going to come over here and you see unit chapters and section headings. There's a description. Headings in a textbook start with the broadest and they proceed to the narrowest. So the title of the book is going to be really, really big. And then unit heading is going to be a little smaller. Smaller than that will be chapter heading. Smaller than that, section heading, then part heading, and then subheading. So the purpose of the headings is to show the order of importance of the material, starting with the thing that's the broadest, and it will get more narrow. So what I mean by that is like a topic sentence. We've talked about thesis statements are broader than topic sentences, and we've talked about them being the main idea. We have, that's kind of what you're looking at there. It's breaking all of those down into smaller units, into smaller chunks, basically. And the smaller you get, the smaller and more detailed the chunk is. So the title of my book is Biology, okay? And one of the units in my book is cells. And a chapter heading might be how cells multiply. And then the section heading might be mitosis, and another one might be meiosis. And then within mitosis, I might look at each of the different phases, and each phase is a part heading. And then my subheading might be even something a little bit more detailed and structured. Or if I'm thinking, and I guess it has it broken down here, the purpose of the heading is to show the order of importance of the material. For the broadest heading ideas, you're going to have the biggest, boldest print. And as you get more specific, it's going to be a little bit less. You've got world history and a little bit industrialism and the race for the empire, the Industrial Revolution, the beginnings of industrialization, the Industrial Revolution begins, and how agricultural revolution relates to that. The headings in a textbook list the ideas from broadest, like the title of the book, to the narrower, the unit headings, chapter headings, to the narrowest, part headings and subheadings. So let's talk about the assignment you're about to do. You're about to do this titles, headings, and subheadings exercise. And this can be confusing if you're not watching this video because you will not understand the directions. What we're going to do is, we know that informational texts and magazines and articles and websites make great use of formatting tools like titles, headings, and subheadings Titles, headings, and subheadings are signals to the reader about what they will find in that section of text. They help writers organize information for the reader. They read the definitions and then practice creating titles, headings, and subheadings with the crazy topics in the topics below. You don't, so we're going to try that. Titles are usually short and intriguing. So if you look at it, look at the example here. So the title that we're dealing with is bubblegum, and the title is Gum is Awesome. And the first heading, A, is that it's delicious. This is kind of like a reason, detail, fact. This is like the topic sentence, and this is like a reason, detail, fact. The other reason, detail, fact is that it's the strongest mouth on the block. The subheading is that under delicious would be savor the many flavors. So maybe we're going to list all the different flavors we can get out of bubble gum. And then sugar, it's really sweet, with or without sugar. Some are sugarless, some are not sugarless. And then the heading B is the strongest mouth on the block. And the subheading for that is that we're going to exercise our jaw and that our tongue is going to get stronger as a result of this strongest mouth on the block. So I'm going to do this first one with you. Here's the worksheet that you're about to do. And we are going to do dragons. So I'm going to make our title be dragons. And my heading for dragons are places, let's do some descriptions. Okay, so let's talk about their wings and size. And then our other heading is going to have to do with their special features, like maybe claws or, not all of them have the same thing, ridgebacks, those kinds of things. And then we're going to look at heading 2. So we talked about descriptions. Let's talk about locations and where you can find them. Some are going to be from like Europe. Places like, Romania and Ireland and Scotland, if you think about how to train your dragons. And maybe another subheading might be Asia, which is another continent that has things like China, Japan, India, those kinds of places, Korea, those types of, or Middle Eastern even. So that is how I would, show this is the basic big idea. These are the 2 ideas that we're going to discuss, and then these are subheadings. They're just a little bit less broad. They're a little bit more narrow, a little bit more focused. So I want you to do the same thing with, just pick one of the topics here, and you're going to make that your title. You're going to give me 2 headings and then 2 subheadings below each. So, and you don't have to do this last one. If you can do this one well, I don't really need you to do that one. So that's it.